United States, there is a saying. If you're not smart enough like a Jew to make your own money, better learn how to sue one. I mean, you clearly know the stories about Andrew Tate.
Now, I want you to understand one thing. When you're Jewish and you're strong and you're powerful and you're helping men from every religion to be the same exact way, to be strong, to fight for their rights, to speak up the truth, to say what's on their mind, they hate that. The system is trying to crack me, but I won't let them.
All right, so I guess this guy hasn't been humiliated enough. This maniac is so delusional, he just made a 30-minute response video after getting exposed for being a convicted child predator, where he seriously tries to paint himself as a victim and refers to himself as a hero in the story that was just trying to protect his family. I mean, this has to be one of the worst response videos ever. Like, he has no shame at all, and it's like he thinks everyone watching is a complete idiot. But thankfully, all the comments are calling him out and roasting him. I couldn't find a single positive one. So for him to think that this was going to be a good response and he'd win people over with this is just completely insane. And he put way too much effort into the production of this video. Like, for some reason, he starts it with a fight scene. I mean, this guy, he's responding to getting exposed for gang raping a 15-year-old, and he starts it with an action scene where he thinks he's starring in a trailer for like an even shittier Steven Seagal movie. It's wild. I've never seen anything like it. I mean, only this lunatic would think it's an appropriate time to try to act like a badass.
In this video, I'm going to be sharing with you what I have went through as a young man when I was 18 years old. You see, I didn't think it was going to come out this way.
And this video just makes him look even more guilty and unhinged. Like, this is not doing him any favors. It's like he's trying to make himself look bad. Like, also, he plays a compilation of channels talking about what he did. And while you hear John Bravo talking about how he essayed a minor, it shows a picture of what it looks like is some young girls scared and crying. And then it just cuts to Ben and his brother shirtless and all sweaty. It's like a jump scare. Like, I don't know if these are the best pictures to use when somebody's talking about how you're a predator. It's like he's trying to make himself look creepy, and for some reason his audio is really low, and the background music is way too loud, and you can barely even hear him talking. So he has all this unnecessary editing and production value, but he can't even get the audio right.
There is a convicted, registered child offender.
Never have I uncovered something as dark, evil as I did when I was doing this.
Stop with the lying, stop with the bullshit, and try to do better.
That I would be so known that somebody would just want to destroy my name.
This is a monstrosity.
Did y'all hear what this guy did?
Wait, his 14-year-old brother too?
$50 million lawsuit?
Bro, that's insane.
Jail time, man. Straight up. This is a lawsuit by a young woman stemming from a brutal R and S assault committed against her by defendants Ben Azuli, Dylan Azuli, both of them are brothers.
And go back almost 20 years to present to you something that I didn't do.
And right from the jump, he starts trying to bullshit us, and he pretends like he always wanted to share this story with everyone, and he's just waiting for somebody on a podcast to finally ask him why he went to jail. Like, he implies he would have been honest about it right from the start and has nothing to hide, but he tried to legally change his name to hide this, and he could have brought it up at any time previously. And he's like, I was waiting for somebody to finally ask me about this, but he has been asked about it before, and of course he lied about it. Like, on one podcast he said he went to jail for trying to fight people, and then on another he said he went for murder charges, but now he wants us to believe he's not hiding anything. He's just an honest guy that's trying to put the truth out there.
I believed I was going to be on a big podcast and someone was finally going to ask me, hey Ben, why were you in jail for your 19th birthday? And that would have been the perfect moment for me to share with the world.
When did you go to jail?
When I was 18.
What did you go for jail for?
I was fighting people all the time.
So you spent a year in jail?
Not a year. They gave me a year, but I left after a few months.
Okay.
Yeah, they let me out. So I became, I could say, a menace to society at that time. And I got not convicted, but they tried to charge me with murder. And I went to jail and came out of jail, did my 19th birthday in jail, in the hole, came out of jail after they couldn't actually convict me.
So clearly this guy is just so full of shit. I don't know how he expects anyone to believe what he has to say now. And he was convicted of his SA charge, but he tries to act like they're just accusations, and he compares himself to celebrities who are accused of assault. to try to act like he was just really successful and this girl was trying to take advantage of him and accuse him of something just to get paid. But he was accused of assault before anybody even knew who he was. He didn't have any fame or money, and he was convicted. He admitted his guilt in court. So that's not up for dispute like some of these other cases he refers to here.
You guys know Cristiano Ronaldo?
Portuguese soccer star Cristiano Ronaldo will not play in upcoming international matches after being accused of...
Because it is so easy to say something about a man and then come back with a big lawsuit. And it goes on and on and on and on.
So he's got to be so delusional to think people will fall for this bullshit. Like, none of this adds up here. Like, he also previously used to say he had a falling out with his parents and moved out and was homeless when he was 17. It even says that right in his YouTube bio. But now he says when he was 18, he was still at home and he was throwing parties at his parents' house and getting drunk with minors.
And when I was 17, he tossed me out of the house. So living as a homeless guy, I had no other way but to get in trouble. I was living at the park. It was a difficult time.
Imagine you were me, 18 years old, throwing a birthday party at my house. A group of girls show up, and one of the girls was the girl that I liked. That girl was hanging out with me the whole evening. That girl even spent the night. That is not the girl who said that she was raped. When we wake up in the morning, I hear cops knocking on my door, saying you're accused of rape. They arrest me, and they arrest my 14-year-old brother.
And obviously during this video, he denies doing anything to the girl, even though he already admitted it in court. But for some reason, he does admit here to watching this 15-year-old girl hook up with his friend, which would still be a crime. Like, he says he told them if they wanted to hook up, they couldn't go inside, but they could do it in front of him, which is just really bizarre. And it doesn't help that he has this ominous music playing in the background, and the way he talks about it, he just makes it sound really creepy.
She had a few drinks. We all had some drinks. Everybody was fine. Everybody was cool. So we're hanging in the backyard, and she sits next to one of the young men who was 17 years old and asks him, will you sleep with me? And I told him, you guys cannot go in my house. If you want, you guys could do it here. So they tried it in front of everybody. And then next thing that happened was, it didn't work for him. So a few seconds after, they stopped, and they were just sitting down and hanging out with us. Young people having drinks, trying to test something they haven't tested before, doing things around people. Okay. Things happen when you're a young adult. People do some things that they probably wouldn't do as an adult. That's why they say you should wait until marriage to have sex. Because the truth is, when you're 17 or 16 or 15 or 18, you don't really know what it is that you truly want. And you start testing things. And the kid that did touch her took her back home. In the morning, cops show up at my house, take me in, arrest my brother, and interrogate us to see if that's truly what happened. So after they interrogated us, they released me and my brother. And after they interrogated her as well, we then start going to court. But right after we received the accusation, there was something else that came with it. And I'm sure you could guess what it was. It was a $50 million lawsuit.
So of course he uses this lawsuit to try to justify pleading guilty to the charges. He claims the judge said he would drop the civil case if he pled guilty to the criminal one. But the problem is that with these cases, they would happen with different judges and at different times. Also, if you were charged with a crime this serious that will be attached to you forever and you didn't do it, why the hell would you plead guilty? That's crazy. And he also acts like this lawsuit was a shakedown from the girl's parents, but he previously said his parents didn't have much money and they lived in a tiny apartment, which kind of contradicts what he's saying about them having a house with a backyard. But if his parents were poor and didn't have much money, why would the family go after them for a ton of money? So he's just a pathological liar, and everyone knows it, yet he expects us to just believe him. You know, he doesn't show any court documents or evidence or anything to help prove his innocence. He's just like, yeah, you guys gotta trust me on this one. Even though I lie about everything, there's no way I'd lie about something to try to save my career.
So we told them, take us to a lie detector test. Do whatever you want. We didn't do this. So we went back and forth to courts. And eventually, when the judge looked into it, and the DA looked into it, and the officers and doctors, they realized that there wasn't a rape. Nobody raped anybody. This was a bunch of young people who were hanging out, drinking some alcohol, and a young girl that went back home to strict parents who supposedly got so upset they sued us for $50 million. So when we went back and forth, her family was so adamant, so pushy about the $50 million. And the poor girl, due to the fact that she didn't want to come to court, her parents tossed her to boarding school. Said they don't want to deal with a troubled child. Because she used to like going out and she used to like dating guys. And I guess later on we found out that she was a troubled child. So this wasn't the first time, but this time they were after big money. Big money. I mean, $50 million.
Coming here and living in a 2-bedroom apartment with my parents, my sister, and my brother. So we didn't come here with much money. And it was a struggle because I was in the same bedroom with my brother and we would fight all day. It was a really hard time.
So his stories have been all over the place. He just can't keep up with his own bullshit at this point. So then he talks about how his lawyer told him he would win the cases, but he didn't want his parents to have to pay for more legal fees, so he decided to plead guilty. And then here he tries to downplay what he's convicted of. But if it really didn't happen, then he wouldn't need to downplay this. Like, if you're accused of something you didn't do, why would you try to explain how what you're accused of isn't that bad? I mean, if someone calls you a child predator and you're like, that's a lie, but also the girl was only 3 years younger than me and it really wouldn't be that bad, I'd say that sounds obviously pretty suspicious. I mean, this guy, he's like, what I pled guilty to is getting oral from a minor, but that could mean someone on the verge of turning 18. So he's just trying to come up with anything he can to try to downplay this and not take responsibility for what he's convicted of. And the girl is 15, so I don't know why he even mentions that it could be somebody turning 18. And he's also like, would that be such a bad thing to get on my birthday? Which is a weird thing to say. And what he claims the judge was telling him here doesn't sound like something a judge would say.
And then I said, let's go to trial. And my lawyer said, listen, if we go to trial, we're going to win. The only thing is that it's going to cost your parents money to go to trial. So the judge gave us an offer. The judge came and said to my lawyer, look, I could remove the $50 million because the lawsuit was on me. It was my parents' house. It was on the homeowner's insurance, and it was on my parents. I wanted that removed more than anything because my father already didn't like me. And when that happened, I felt so bad that then I started to think, well, now I understand why my dad doesn't like me. Because I'm bringing trouble to him. Because I could have just not done the birthday at my house and not let people drink here. I was 18, I should have been responsible. The judge says, listen, I have a great deal and we can finish all of this. I'll tell them to remove the $50 million lawsuit because what they need is real justice. But I'll also let them know that there wasn't any. and that they're going to lose this case regardless. So how about we do that? We get me, Miserably, to plead guilty to code 288, which means oral copulation with a minor. If you don't understand what that means, is I'm an 18-year-old and a girl that is under 18 went down on me. Now, she could have been 17 and 11 months and 25 days, and that's still oral copulation with a minor. Anyone that is under the age of 18. Imagine, for my 18th birthday, that was such a horrible gift.
So it basically sounds like he's admitting what he did here, and he doesn't sound ashamed or anything. And he's so sick in the head, he tries to spin it like what he did here was selfless, and he took the fall to protect his brother and parents, like he saved his family. That's how out of it this guy is. I mean, he also acts like he's a hero, and then he tries giving some inspirational quote and says this story is all just part of his teachings. You know, like the only reason he's sharing this story is because it's a life lesson everybody can learn from. That's what he wants us to think.
All of it will be expunged off of his record. He'll spend 30 days in jail to make it seem like it's a lot. And he'll be done with it. So he comes to me and tells me about the deal. And I say, but they will remove the lawsuit, the $50 million lawsuit, off of my parents and everybody? He says yes. He says, listen, son, sometimes you win some, sometimes you lose some. Be sure you're being the hero here. You're saving and protecting your whole family. This will be completely off your record after, and all you'll do is lousy 30 days in jail. Not prison, jail. No one will ever hear of this, and you'll continue your life. And this is where I learned the quote. Sometimes in life, it's better to be the smart one and not the right one. And the smart decision there was to end it and continue with my life. But for me, it didn't end there. Yeah, I went into jail for 30 days. Yeah, I came out. But remember, you will never see a hater do better than you. I shared my story, and there'll be more to come. Because this story I'm glad I got to share this story with you guys, because I've been wanting to do it for a long time. And you guys have been by my side, and that is why I'm here sharing it with you, piece by piece, because I truly want you guys to understand that I'm here to give you my teachings from past experiences.
So I guess he's talking to the one fan he has left at the end there. I mean, this guy's cooked, but he should be happy. Recently, he's talking about how he doesn't like fame that much, and he's starting to regret becoming so massively famous because he can't go to Magic Mountain anymore.
The truth is that I kind of do miss my old life sometimes. I really do. I miss the peace. I miss being able to go to places with my wife and not being jumped on every second. I mean, my wife's favorite place is Magic Mountain. And I can't go to Magic Mountain because I go to the mall and everybody sees me, and it gets to a point where it's like they're huddling me, they want photos, they want autographs, they want to hug me. And I love my fans, don't get me wrong. It just is very different today. It's like I have to go with bodyguards, but then if I take bodyguards with me, that kind of looks odd because why am I with bodyguards? Who am I really? I'm just some fucking influencer on social media. I love the fact that I'm a role model. I love that.
So I guess the cope over his downfall is already starting. You know, he's acting like he wants to step away from social media because he's just so massively famous. He can't go out in public. I mean, it's hilarious. He thinks anybody would believe that. But, you know, I think there's probably a different reason why he can't go to Magic Mountain. But let me know what you guys think about it all down in the comments. And if you want extra content from me, make sure you check out the Patreon. I've been covering Brendan Schaub's disastrous move to Texas over there and how he's starting to get really pissed at Brian Callen too. It's awesome. Like, it's some of the best Schaub content in a while. I also cover Wes Watson a lot over there, so make sure you check it out. It's definitely worth it. I'll put a link in the description.
In school, I had a friend that was mentally challenged. I had 2 friends that were in a wheelchair. I had a friend that was a midget, you know, and I was protecting them.